State University, and the topic is Chocolate Cities in Crises. And of course, Dr. Padgett, before we had our first commercial break, we promised that we'd give you an opportunity to identify the cities that you designate as chocolate cities, and to say something about each of those cities in reference to the crisis situation that you found through your study.
Okay, well, first I'll start off with New Orleans. Now, New Orleans is somewhat unique. It was unique as far as the cities that I've been looking at in terms of in the 9 years that we've been ranking cities in Black Enterprise, New Orleans has never made one of the best cities. But New Orleans is one of the cities in the U.S. that has one of the largest percentages of African American population, at least before Hurricane Katrina. Now, with less than half of the population back and a lot of the African Americans not going back there, we don't really know what the population looks like right now demographically. As I mentioned before, I will be going down to the Bayou Classic next weekend, and we'll have a chance to look around. I've been to New Orleans twice since Hurricane Katrina, and it's really not the same place. What has happened is the working class is not there because they've been priced out of housing. There are those who lost their houses, but a lot of the renters whose rental properties were rebuilt now are facing having to pay $200, $300, $400 more a month in rent because the insurance rates went up on landlords, and so they just passed that along to the renters. And so the diaspora from New Orleans who might want to come back and rent, they just can't afford to do it. And so that's very visible, especially when you look at some of the service sectors. But of course, New Orleans with Katrina has all kinds of problems, but they were at one time the murder capital of the United States, even before Katrina. They had all kinds of problems with their police force being corrupt, and even the police force was actually engaged directly in the drug business. They also had problems with their notorious problems with schools, which was one thing that we found across the board when we looked at all these cities, was that people in general, Black people, were not satisfied with their schools. And we are almost very much predominantly in public schools, and that's one big problem. Now, in terms of public schools, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and my mother taught for almost 40 years in that system. And so moving on to Baltimore, Baltimore is a city that didn't make the first list in 2001, made the list, I think it was number 10 in 2004, didn't make it in 2007, largely because of the crime. Baltimore is known for crime. I mean, every TV show about Baltimore, Homicide, The Wire, The Corner, just shows that this city, they had a segment of American Gangster about the heroin trade in Baltimore, and that some of the statistics you hear coming out of Baltimore, where you have 50% of African American males being unemployed, 1 out of every 2 African American males having some involvement with the criminal justice system. This is Baltimore, Maryland. And so it's a struggle there, because what's interesting is you have Baltimore, which has some of the highest percentages of people on public assistance. Then one county to the south is Howard County, which is one of the wealthiest counties in the United States in terms of income. And so it's a strange juxtaposition there. But again, Baltimore's biggest problem is crime, and also, again, education. And growing up there,